This is episode 26 of Pinnacle FC. Happy Super Bowl weekend, everyone. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you. Of course, this is a football podcast, not an American football podcast, but really it's the main course in this betting weekend. I love it every year because there's plenty going on. The Waste Management Open in the PGA, full slate of NBA, NHL games, and of course, the actual football, fourth round FA Cup tie. We have Real Madrid, Atlético Madrid this weekend, and also a full slate of fixtures in Serie A and Bundesliga to get to. We'll have to get a special Super Bowl pick and play from Jake Osgathorpe by the end of this podcast. I think half of our podcast we did last year at this time around Super Bowl, we talked about the American football. That's just the way that things go. It's the best betting weekend of the calendar year, Jake.
Yeah, it is, and the Super Bowl is just massive. It's I love the way in which the American season's structured. That it's just a massive culmination into this one-off game. And yeah, I know it's Kansas City. I know that they're going for a three-peat, and they've got Mahomes, probably one of the best quarterbacks ever, one of the best coaches ever. But I just think the Eagles are just too talented, so I'm taking the Eagles. They're my pick. I know they're your team. Are you joining me in picking the Eagles to win the game?
I thought we were going to tease this to the end.
Oh no, I can't leave them waiting. We'll leave the waste management till the end.
Honestly, I'm going to be on Pinnacle between now and kickoff to see if there are any line moves. I mean, it's still at 1.5. Pinnacle provides you the best value on market if you want to bet the Chiefs money line. I made a rule last year when I was all over the Chiefs against the 49ers. I just won't bet against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I bet against Brady for too long, and the 2 years I backed him, he lost to Eli Manning. So I've learned my lesson not to bet against Mahomes. I like the totals. I like some props. I like team totals over. I think there's going to be points in this game. We'll leave it at that for now, but go Birds. How's that? Go Birds. Of course, all the markets that we will be using, and even for Super Bowl, the best market to use are those provided on Pinnacle, BetSmart, Pinnacle, over 25 years in market, providing you the best lines. All right, it's fourth round FA Cup weekend. We did make some picks and plays around the third round, but by the sounds of it, Jake Osgathorpe, who, by the way, is coming off 5 consecutive profitable weeks, is saying bah humbug with the FA Cup. You're not really seeing anything you like this time around for the fourth round fixtures. Explain, Jake.
Nothing at all. You look across the board, I struggle to see an upset, which is obviously one of the more exciting things. I struggle to see where there's much value, to be honest. Whether that be chancing a better team on a big handicap, or, like I said, opposing a favourite on a handicap. Some of the goal lines look spot on, and to be honest, don't generally bet the FA Cup too much when we get past the third round, because I think when you get to fourth and fifth round, you start to get a little bit more questionable team selections. Our team's going to rotate to more? What are the motivations? Like we've seen, teams like Bournemouth last year, who you thought, right, they're mid-table, they're not going to go down, they're going to have a right go at this FA Cup competition, trying to win a cup. Oh no, he's rotated his entire team against Leicester at home, and now they're knocked out. So stuff like that happens at this stage of the season, where teams that you think might actually have a go at it don't, and that can bite you on the ass a little bit. So I'm more than happy to leave it alone completely, but I understand you've got quite a few plays.
Well, I got a whole sheet. I got a whole sheet right here.
And this is the Gareth Wheeler podcast.
So this will be a fun segment. I'll throw out some games, and we'll see what Jake has to say about the potential picks in place here. I feel more strong about some than others, but let's go through some of the highlight fixtures, or the ones that I've pinpointed over the course of what's going to play out between Friday and Tuesday, by the way. And the Tuesday fixture may be the best of the bunch in terms of finding that said value. Friday, it's Manchester United and Leicester City. Of course, Rashford, Antony, a bunch of players have gone out at United. Just Dorgu comes in, and a young center back. Heaven, which is appropriate because the last few years have been absolute hell for Manchester United. I mean, the headline writers are going to have a field day with that one if he ever turns out to be anything decent. United, a goal and a half favorites on the handicap in this game. I'm staying away from that entirely. Both teams to score an over 2.5 at plus 108. That's honestly, Jake, the way that these two teams are trending seems to be the way. United, I don't care. As bad as Leicester City is, United gave up a 2.46 expected goals to Palace in a 2-0 loss on the weekend. They beat Leicester City twice, one in cup competition at home already this season. There was a 5-2 and a 3-0. United have actually gone about losing 5 out of their last 6 at home. Lissandro Martinez is out. I think they're vulnerable defensively, conceding 22 in their home fixtures, but I think they'll win the game because Leicester City, lost 4-0 at Everton on the weekend. Yeah, they beat Spurs 2-1, but we documented it. Spurs has been one of the worst teams form-wise in the Premier League for the duration of the last 2 months. They lost 2-1 at Villa, still scored a goal there. 3-1 at Liverpool, still scored a goal there. Got smashed at Newcastle. They have a 30.71 expected goals against away from home in the Premier League. And they've conceded 32. That's the worst in both of those categories. And no clean sheet in their last 19 overall. So Leicester City, by the way, no clean sheet against Manchester United in 20. So I just think that these teams, as bad as poor as they both are with their deficiencies, I just think both teams to score an over 2.5 at plus 108 is providing some value here. What say you, Jake? Any quick thought on this? Tempting at all?
Yeah, that one is tempting. I think this is a massively important competition for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim for numerous reasons. Obviously, because the league position's really, really bad. They're the defending champions. It's a route into Europe if you win it. And like I said, they've not got much to play for in the league, so very important. Leicester are rubbish. I wonder what their motivation is going to be like. Maybe Ruben Amorim treats this 2 weeks as an opportunity to get things tighter in terms of tactics. They have a couple of good big opportunities against the likes of Brentford, and I think they've got another winnable game coming up. So yeah, I wouldn't put anybody off that at plus number.
Okay, lukewarm feel about that one.
Yeah.
Saturday, Leyton Orient and Manchester City. Look, City are favored on the handicap, minus 2.5 at minus 120. I'm considering playing it despite the fact they play Real Madrid in the Champions League on Tuesday. I get it, but they've had no midweek game in the build-up to this one. They smash inferior teams. Like, they lose to good teams now, but 8-0 Salford City, 6-0 Ipswich Town, a Premier League side. I don't think that they're that bad. Leyton Orient 16th in League One. Like, that number's screaming out to me to make a play, even at minus 120, 2.5. Anything there?
Yeah, just to correct you, they're 6th in League One, so they're just a little bit better.
Still, a League One side. Come on.
I know it's a big ask for them to do anything, but they did knock out a Championship team in the last round. They have lost just once in their last 19 games, excluding some third-rate trophy over here. So they're generally a team on good form. And like you said, that Real Madrid game is just, that's massive. Like, if I'm Pep, I'm resting everybody here and just playing the kids.
But even if they rest everyone, they need to utilize the new players, Marmouche, different players that have come into the team. Yeah. There's enough firepower there. Doku gets a game. Grealish gets, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Even the bad version of City, even at 2.5, I'm staring at that one. I'm not making an official play, but I'm very tempted. What about Coventry City and Ipswich Town? Ipswich, by the way, a significant line move over the course of the night. We're recording this on Friday or on Wednesday. On Tuesday, Ipswich Town, you could have them to win the game at plus 154. It's moved out to plus 31. I understand that Ipswich Town have lost 4 in a row. The Southampton loss is just inexplicable to me. You can't lose that game, especially at home. But they beat Coventry City twice last year, 2-1. This is a better Ipswich Town squad, just in terms of personnel and players involved. Kieran McKennie's got to be playing for something here. At plus 131, that's a tempting number to play as well, even though they're playing away from home.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Coventry play midweek as well against Leeds, so
Yes.
they could get given a little bit of a run around. Yeah, just looking at the team that he fielded as well in the last round, McKenna, it was a fairly strong team. He made changes, but the squad's quite deep and it's better than Championship quality. So even if he makes a few changes, I do expect them to get through. I think it's just one of those games where at the stage of the season where they just need to win games for confidence, really. Ipswich, just to give them any kind of belief heading down the home straight. So yeah, it would be damaging if they went to Coventry, put out a decent enough team and lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't put anybody off that. And obviously, the market agrees, hence why the prices move so drastically.
Let's talk about another shift in the market. I got in on Bournemouth handicap 0. So essentially a draw no bet at -110. They go to Goodison Park and take in on a revived Everton side under David Moyes. It's now shifted out to -133 if you want to make that same play. Again, this is overnight. I wouldn't put anyone off playing the Bournemouth team total over a goal and a half at +124 as well. Look, Everton 3 wins in a row. I get it, but Leicester City, the Brighton game was a grind, and then Spurs. They also play Liverpool at home in
Midweek.
the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. And Bournemouth beat Everton earlier this season, and I know they're a little bit depleted right now, but I mean, if Bournemouth hadn't lost to Liverpool 2-0 in the weekend, what would this line have been? And that's why it's shifting out now. I think that this is a proper market correction here. It might go to a place where you don't want to make a play at all, which I get it, but I think there was value at one time.
Yeah, I still think there is value. I think Everton, good results, performances are improving on the Moyes, but there's still a big gulf in quality between these two teams. And like you said, the Merseyside derby upcoming is a massive factor. It means that Moyes could well rest a couple of his key starters. Maybe Illumin Jai gets a break after playing so well. He's so important to that team. Maybe a couple of others get rotated out. Bournemouth are in a position where, yeah, they're trying to qualify for Europe through the league, but I mean, they've got a week off after this, so there's no point in resting players for that long, is there? Especially when you've not got a limited squad anyway. So I expect to see Areola have a good go here. I know I've said that Bournemouth with the example I used earlier, that it was just so hard to predict. So what maybe the best way to approach this one is just wait for team news. And if Bournemouth put out a near strong team, if you've got your likes of Clivert, Adams, Cook, Christie, or Hoyson, Zabriani both played in the last round, which I thought was interesting. So did Kepa in the net. So he went fairly strong spine in the last round. Then I would definitely be taking Bournemouth at a big price, because at the end of the day, in my mind, Bournemouth are at a similar kind of level to maybe not quite Chelsea, but not too far behind Chelsea. And if Chelsea were going to Goodison Park in an FA Cup game, they'd be odds on. So Bournemouth should be closer to that even money line.
I feel like I'm doing a decent enough job picking games where, yeah, you're not just dismissing them. You're considering them at bare minimum. 3 more games really quickly to go through. I told you, I don't think I like the FA Cup slate. That was okay. Blackburn Rovers are in a state right now. I know they're 5th in the league championship, but they've lost 4 of their last 5. They're home to Wolves, and I think that Wolves have accomplished and achieved a level of stability here. Had a decent enough window, kind of solidifying some of the depth issues in their team. They kept Cunha. I think they're playing for their manager. I think Wolves on the handicap at -0.75 at -111 at Blackburn Rovers is a decent enough play. I mean, Wolves beat Bristol City last time around. They beat Villa 2-0. Both of us were on side with Wolves for that fixture. It was good timing for that game as well. But the 3 losses before that for Wolves came against Arsenal, Chelsea, and Newcastle. Then the loss before that, the previous cup competition game, was Nottingham Forest. So I think they're performing much better against those better teams. But I think that this fits the category of an absolutely winnable game for them here. And that the price is one that I kind of like here. So I take Wolves away from home in this fixture against Blackburn Rovers, who look like they're going in a little bit in the wrong direction. Like I said, 4 losses in their last 5 overall.
Yeah.
Any nibble?
No massive opposition to that. We had a head-to-head, didn't we, in the last round, Wolves, Bristol
We
City,
did.
and you came off on the right side of that one with Wolves playing a fairly strong team. And given they brought in a couple of players in the window, he might be using this game as a opportunity to just get them bedded in, get them to understand what tactics, systems, etc. Because it is just a relentless week to week. I expect a full strength team from Wolves, just to again just keep that momentum going after such a good win. The last thing you want to do is rock up at Blackburn and lose, kill all that momentum. So no massive complaints to that one
All
either.
right. This is going really well. I think I'm making the case. Here we go. Two more. I want to jump inside with Aston Villa as well at home against Spurs at -121. This could be one of the better plays of the week. Villa are a way better side at home than they are away. Obviously, their window, everyone's buzzing about them. It might take a little bit of time, but Unai Emery's had this week off ahead of this fixture against Spurs. Meanwhile, Spurs on Wednesday, after taping of the show, have a crucial Carabao Cup leg away at Liverpool. They're up 1-0 heading into it. Dragushin is out. Van de Ven is doubtful. We'll see if he plays. Can he go back-to-back games? He's got to be really careful. I know they brought in Danso, but he's going to be kind of thrown to the Wolves, won't he, based upon the way that they're playing. And Wolves 4-1. They've lost 7 games away from home in the Premier League, and they're playing against the Villa side, who are good at home, second in the Premier League in terms of expected point total at home over the course of the season, and they've only lost 1 game. So I know they lost to Spurs 4-1. This is actually shifted in the right direction. It was at -125 on Tuesday. Now it's down to -121 if you want to back the Villa here. I think it's a decent enough spot. They don't have to worry about a Champions League fixture next week, I should say. So it seems like a good spot to me to back Villa against which should be a little bit of a road-weary Spurs side heading into this one.
Yeah, I'm on board with that one again. I was a little bit apprehensive with Villa before the last round because Unai Emery's record in cup competitions is utterly woeful. I think that this FA Cup is the first time he got past the third round with Villa, or maybe the second time. But either way, they don't get further than this in terms of FA Cup. But the way in which he feels such a strong team against West Ham for a Friday night game, I thought was really interesting, especially with the Champions League game coming up a couple of days after. I think it shows intent to try and win something. And like you said, they've strengthened in the window, got a few new players in, so they've got that rotation. They've also got, as you said, they've had a free midweek. And I think that's the most important thing for Villa because their record now, after playing midweek matches, is 2 wins, 5 draws, and 11 defeats, which is just absolutely atrocious. And it just speaks to the fact that how much time Unai Emery needs to prepare his team for his individual game tactics. So the fact they've had a free week to deal with this, I do think that they'll get the better of Spurs, and Spurs on a short week as well, Thursday, Sunday, with a light squad. As you said, Van der Ven, he's probably going to play in the Carabao Cup. They're probably going to risk him for that because it's such a big game. Probably won't play here. So yeah, -121 does look a bit value, to be fair.
There you go. And finally,
that's my favourite one so far.
Thank you. It's mine too. This one might even be the play that I need to make in terms of my podium picks. Exeter City against Nottingham Forest on Tuesday. Extended rest for Forest, which is great news. You can back them on the handicap away from home to beat Exeter City by 1.5 at -121. I'm also happy to make a Forest first half handicap play, -0.75 at -102. Also, you can get Forest in the team total over 2.5 at +110. Let's talk Exeter City for those who might not be familiar. They're 17th in League One right now. No wins in their last 5. No clean sheet in 15. Recent results: lost 4-1 to Stevenage, 6-2 to Leyton Orient, and 3-1 to Blackpool. I also bring up the first half lines because they've been the first half loser in their last 5 games and been the first to concede in 5 of 6. Forest have picked up the second most points away from home in the Premier League this season. They're coming off that 7-0 demolition job against Brighton. That was at home, but a bounce back statement performance after losing 5-0 at Bournemouth. Also, Forest were the first half winner in 8 of their last 9 games and being the first to score in 8 of their last 9 games. This is a complete mismatch in practice and on paper and in terms of recent form. A 1.5 seems relatively cheap, even at -121 here. It's just what pro Forest play do you want to make here? So there's no doubt a pick there. I'm leaning just to make it straightforward on the handicap, but also that first half play at -102 makes a whole lot of sense for me as well.
Yeah, massive gulf in quality between these two. I've just looked at the market, and I think you've not mentioned it, but Exeter not to score at +107 looks could be a real runner, because Forest defensively are just so tight. Obviously coming off the back of clean sheet against Brighton, but prior to that, clean sheets against Wolves, Everton, Spurs, Brentford. Like, they are built on solid foundations, and they're just a good team, just a well organised team. Nuno's going to take this game seriously, like you said. Plenty of rest, both sides of it. Why not have a little cup run as well as trying to get in the top four? So yeah, again, that's probably the way I'd approach it. Exeter not to score, because I could see Forest winning 1-0 maybe, but yeah, I don't mind the first half win either.
Those are the 7 FA Cup games that caught my attention. Jake, let's go with the 2.5 spread over under. How many picks do you think plays do you think you'll end up making from those?
From those, under 2.5. I'll probably back the Villa. Maybe Villa and both teams to score. I'm not seeing what price that is, but Villa to win looks good. And then how are the rest?
Not Bournemouth, not Wolves, not Forest.
It depends on the teams with Bournemouth. If Bournemouth feel a good team, I'll take them for sure, because I think that they're in a position where they can take it deadly seriously. And they're a really good side. So they would be the two I would be leaning towards. But yeah, you make good cases for all of them. Yeah,
that was a good exercise there. That was a lot of fun trying to convince Jake to make plays. I was just
the only one that I was a bit like, ooh, was Man City on the handicap.
Yeah,
and I don't know why. Yeah, because I guess any other season it would be automatic. It'd be like, oh yeah, City will win that comfortably. But
Leyton Orient, come on,
they're red hot at the minute. They're red hot. They're a tough team to beat, and especially at home as well. Like, if it was at the Etihad, obviously the handicap probably would be a bit higher. But that was the one I was just looking at. I was like, oh, it's a big handicap to overcome. I'd expect Liverpool to be that level of handicap at Orient, and they're a better team than City. So maybe it should be a flat 2 in my opinion.
Again, City just demolished the really inferior teams. Like, this is who they play well against now, because their defensive frailties, they don't get exposed as much. That's the way that I read that. So
this would be definitely on script this season for City if they were to get eliminated at Orient. It would be on script.
Maybe I don't make a play just so I can try to get behind that. A late Orient win over City,
and then they get to play Real Madrid and get ripped to shreds in the week. So
yeah, have fun with that. Well, let's get to Real Madrid. We have about 10 minutes to go. So the rest of Europe, let's start in La Liga, and it's the Madrid derby. Real Madrid taking on Atlético Madrid. We discussed La Liga futures last week, and Real Madrid were the favorite. Famous last words, Jake. I'm not sure how anyone can catch Real Madrid. They lost to Espanyol. Now there's a 3-point gap. I advocated for Atlético Madrid as a potentially savvy play. They've gone from +600 down to +403 now to win La Liga, with Barcelona very much brought right back into the mix as well. Madrid lost to Espanyol 1-0. Atlético Madrid gave me a winner with a 2-0 victory over Mallorca. So things have gone well. You mentioned it, Real Madrid, Manchester City, and the Champions League on Tuesday, and Rudiger is being ruled out. So center back is a real problem for Real Madrid now and for the immediate future. Tchouaméni is still playing center back for this team. They've gone over 2.5 of 8 of 9, 9-0-1 in 10 games at home, and the most points per game, 28 home goals, is joint most with Barcelona. Atletico Madrid also played midweek against Getafe, and they won 5-0. They have no Champions League fixture next week as well. They lost their last La Liga away match against Ligan, but they did beat Barcelona in their away match before that. Only a 5-3-2 record away from home in La Liga, which is a little bit disappointing. 14 goals scored, 7 conceded. Head-to-head, Atletico Madrid haven't lost in their last 3. They drew 1-1 in September. 90 plus 5, a Correa goal, salvaged a point for Atletico Madrid at home. Both teams to score has played in the last 8 meetings between these two sides. How are you looking at this game, Jake? It's the biggest fixture of the weekend across European football. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I'm very much on board with Atletico Madrid at the prices. As you said, defensive issues for Real Madrid, huge concern. And Simeone's had Ancelotti's number for a while now. It's perhaps gone under the radar, but you said that they're unbeaten in the last 3. I've got it down as unbeaten in the last 7 head-to-heads in 90 minutes. So obviously a couple of those were
no losses in 3. Sorry,
So
no losses in 3.
They're unbeaten in 7 against Real Madrid within that 90-minute period. So, and that includes the last 3 at the Bernabeu as well. So they've actually fared really well whenever they've played Real Madrid, just frustrating them, hitting them on the counter-attack, doing it similar to what they did against Barcelona earlier in the season, which was a bit of smash and grab. And you mentioned their away form. It's a bit patchy, but they've generally been excellent away from home, Atletico Madrid. They've won 10 of the last 11 away games in all competitions, including at Barcelona, at PSG. And in total, they've lost just 3 of 18 away all season. So they're good travellers. And Real Madrid, they've lost 2 home games all season, but they've been against the 2 best teams they've played. Obviously, Barcelona went there and absolutely spanked them 4-0. And Milan went there, the other team that you look at their schedule, and Milan are probably the second best home team to visit. They went there and beat them 3-1 earlier in the season as well. So Atletico Madrid are more than capable of going there and getting a result. And as you said, extra days rest because Madrid play on Wednesday in the Copa. Atletico played on Tuesday, and Real Madrid have got the big game to look ahead to as well. And then you throw in the fact that the underlying data for the pair is very, very similar. Real Madrid slightly better, plus 1.1 expected goal difference per game. Atletico at plus 0.9. And I'm more than happy to take the visitors on the handicap, plus 103. And I would suggest getting on the number as quickly as you can, because it's already moved that price from when I did my notes earlier on Wednesday. It was plus 107. It's creeping down towards even money.
Same thing for me. The run of fixtures matters. The dates matter. Who's fit matters. Atletico Madrid just in a better position right now. I think they've only lost once in their last 20 or so. They're on really good form right now. So yeah, have to back Atleti going into this fixture. That's it for La Liga for me. Anything else there? Shall we move forward to Serie A?
No, I've got a couple more. I'll quickly spin through.
Wow.
I've got an over and an under. The over is it's a Friday night game, Vallecano versus Valladolid. The line's set at 2.25. I think that's a little bit too low. Rayo's home games have averaged 3.1 goals so far this season. They've gone over 2.5, totaling 7 of 10. And Valladolid away games, mainly because they're getting smashed everywhere they go, they're averaging 3.6 goals per game, and the over has landed in 9 of 11, so really high percentage. And if you look at it XG-wise, both home and away games for Rayo and Valladolid are averaging 2.9 expected goals, so generally seeing plenty of chances at both ends. And Vallecano pushing at the right end of the Liga. They're up to 6th in the league. They're on a great run of form, and they'll be licking the lips at facing this Valladolid defence that are just shipping goals left and right. So over in that one, and then under in Sociedad versus Espanyol. Sociedad have been absolutely atrocious for goals this season for their fans. The under 2.5 goals has landed in 16 of 22 this season, 7 of 12 at home. Their home games are averaging just 2 goals. So taking the line at 2.25 at minus 114. Espanyol under 2.5 in 12 of 22, 6 of 10. Goals at a premium of late. They've had the last 3 away games have all gone under this total. So under 2.5, 2.25. Half your stake on under 2, half your stake on 2.5. If it's 1 goal or fewer, we get a nice winner, and I can't see too many goals in that one.
All right, we're running short on time, but I want to make sure we get to Serie A and Bundesliga. What's happening in Italy this weekend?
In Italy, I don't have anything. That's all you. I've got a couple of plays left for the Bundesliga. So, I do. I forgot about this one.
Do you want me to jump in?
Parma. That's the one I've got.
Okay.
Minus 106 looks a big price to me because there's a bit of a disconnect between Cagliari's actual league position and their underlying data. They sit 17th in the league. They've actually been the 12th best team in the league, so they should be well clear of a relegation struggle. Parma are 18th. They're exactly where they deserve to be. And I just thought it was fascinating that Parma are the third worst team on the data. They're averaging 1.9 expected goals against per away game, and they've lost the XG battle in 8 of 11 road trips. Cagliari are the other end of the scale, really. The home data is not, it's not super fantastic, hence why they're not a top 6 team, but they won the XG battle in 7 of their 12 home games, which is a really, really good record for a team that are currently fourth bottom. So minus 106, I thought looked a little bit too big.
Okay. There's teams that are worthwhile to pick on when a really strong side plays a bad team, like Southampton, and then there's Bochum, obviously, and Valladolid, like teams like that. That side is Monza in Serie A. They're bottom of the table by 3 points. 1 win, no draws, 9 losses in their last 10. They're at Lazio this weekend. The spread is a goal and a quarter at minus 104. I actually prefer that to Lazio win to nil at plus 127 because Monza has scored in 7 of their last 9 games and the over has played recently. But Lazio, I mean, they haven't won their last 4 at home, but it's a get things right game. They also played Fiorentina, Inter, and Atalanta and had 10 men against Como in a 1-1 draw over that span. So they were up a goal, by the way, in that game against Como in the 58th minute. So Monza are just dreadful. They haven't had a clean sheet in 16. And the teams that they're losing against are nowhere near as good as Lazio. They played a very soft schedule as of late. The worst XG per game away from home as well. So yeah, minus 1.25 at minus 104. It's definitely one of my 3 favorite plays of the week. Same goes for Napoli, win to nil, plus 120 against Udinese. Udinese can score goals, but Napoli, top of the table by 3 points. No European football. No losses in 8, 7-1-0. No clean sheets in 3, but they do have 2 clean sheets in their last 3 games at home. 9-0-2 at home is tops. The most expected points per game. 7 goals conceded at home is the fewest, and only an XG of their opponents, or expected goals against at 8.02. So Udinese, I mean, 13 goals away in 11. They're just playing against a better side. Napoli, by the way, haven't lost to Udinese in their last 18 meetings, and Udinese doesn't have a clean sheet against Napoli in their last 20 meetings. It was 3-1 earlier this season, but Napoli at home with time to prep, they'll be on lockdown. No problems there for me. That's probably my favorite bet of the week. All right, anything in the Bundesliga? I have one lean, Leverkusen. It's actually more of a little bit of a reach because I like Leverkusen to win in over 2.5 at plus 171 against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg's a team where essentially the overs continually play. 21 goals scored, 21 conceded in just 10 home games. And Leverkusen, for me, just in terms of this fixture, a better side. They played to a 4-3 earlier this season, so I think it's worth it, even just a half play to get on side with Leverkusen, the total in this one, to get a little bit more juice rather than just making a pro Leverkusen play at minus 120. Not sure if anything from Germany stands out to you.
Yeah, I've got a couple. My favourite bet of the week is our good old friends Mainz. Minus
I was looking at that
126.
game.
The line's moving, so get on it as soon as you can. They are absolutely flying at home. 5 straight wins, beat Dortmund, Bayern, Stuttgart in that time. The underlying process is really good. 7th best in the league. 1.5 expected goals for, 1.1 against. And Augsburg away from home. They've won 2, drawn 3, lost 5. They're unbeaten in the last 3, but they're all against teams in a relegation battle. They actually rank as the 2nd worst team in the Bundesliga when travelling, according to expected goals. They've lost the XG battle in 9 of 10 away league games, which is not a recipe for success. I just thought the price, just on a straight win, minus 126, was more than good enough for me. Another straight
One of my
win.
favorite teams to bet. One of my favorite teams to bet. Mine. So I was kind of looking at the total as well there, but just couldn't. Just my numbers were a little bit off there, but I don't mind the Mainz play outright.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
the other one is Freiburg as well, minus 134 to beat Heidenheim. They're 1-6 drawn 1 lost 2 at home. One of the defeats came against Bayern Munich, which was the last time out. It was a narrow 2-1. 6th best home team in expected goals. Heidenheim away have lost 6 of their last 7. They're conceding nearly 2 expected goals against per away game. And generally, Freiburg are just a really solid home team. They generally are very consistent season to season, and I'm more than happy to back them at this kind of price without even needing to get on a handicap. I know it's a bit shorter than mine, but I think they're more than worthwhile. And even if you want to parlay them, if you double them up, you're getting plus 218 for the Mainz Freiburg double at 2:30 UK time. So I would be absolutely on board with that. And then probably one of my favourite bets of the week is Bayern Munich against Werder Bremen. It's Bayern Munich to win, both teams to score. Now, the thinking here is that Bayern Munich are minus 1,006 to win. The goal total's set at 4, so they're expecting 4 goals in the game. Werder Bremen are scoring so many goals. Surely one of those goals has got to go for Werder Bremen, right? Surely. I mean, they're averaging 2 goals per away game in the Bundesliga this season. They're averaging 1.5 expected goals per away game. They've scored twice at Leipzig, twice at Dortmund, twice at Mainz. And Bayern Munich have looked really shaky defensively. They've won and both teams' scores landed in 4 of the last 5 home league games, 5 of 6 in all competitions. We've seen Slovan Bratislava go there and score. Their attack's absolutely flying, so I've got no question about Bayern Munich actually winning the game. And I just thought that the jump from the minus 1,000 price to plus 136 just for Werder Bremen to score. I mean, it just looks massive. And then obviously we factor in something that play into our favour. They've got a midweek game in the Champions League against Celtic. If they're 2 or 3-0 up with 20 minutes to go, company might call the dogs off. Werder Bremen get a couple of consolation goals, similar to what Holstein Kiel did last time out when they scored 3. They were 4-0 down, finished 4-3. So I thought the price at plus 136 was too big.
I really like your rationale there. I might have to join you on that, to be honest. And they're just not the same defensively without Alphonso Davies in the team. Congratulations on 2030. The rap track to announce it, I'll let him get away with that. So
not quite Kendrick Lamar, huh?
Not quite Kendrick. That's exactly what came to mind. My top 3 bets of the week: Napoli beat Udinese to 0 plus 120. Lazio in the handicap against Monza at minus 104. And let's go Atletico Madrid on the handicap, half a goal at plus 103. For all the FA Cup fixtures I went through, I mean, I could have put the Villa game, the Nottingham Forest game. We'll stay out of the cup competition for posterity purposes here. Okay, what would you like? What are your top 3?
One is Mainz to beat Augsburg at minus 126. Number 2 is Bayern Munich win and both teams to score at plus 136. And number 3 is Cagliari to beat Parma at minus 106.
Oh, wow. Honestly, we have to be the most diverse soccer, football betting podcast in market. Like, who else would give you 6 different picks as our best bets that are just so diverse in terms of quality of sides and where they're playing? So that's what we're all about here on Pinnacle FC. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Birds.
Likewise.
Back Jalen Hurts touchdowns all day, every day. And let's hope that Mahomes loses this game. I can't do it anymore. And yeah, as a card-carrying Eagles fan, let's go Bird. Big weekend ahead. Best of luck to you and your picks and plays, Jake. And thanks for supporting the Eagles as well this weekend.
No problem. Yeah, hopefully they get it done. Hopefully Tom Kim wins the waste management and we all go home happy.
Brilliant. Okay. I see a lot of money going Scotty Scheffler's way for obvious reasons this weekend, but Tommy Kim, as long as he picks up the pace of play, then the tournament may finish before the kickoff of the Super Bowl. We'll see how it plays.
I don't mind him playing super slow, but just hit a good shot after you've taken ages,
yes.
Right?
Yes. Him and Kentley, they're setting the tour back decades. Yeah. Anyway, we'll say that for another day.
Don't forget the Wiggler.
Farman. Yeah. I don't support any of these individuals, for the record. On behalf of Jake, I'm Garrett. This has been episode 26 of Pinnacle FC.